Fall is in the air. It's officially here on Saturday morning, 10:49 a.m. We've been talking about that for a while. But you know, it feels like it this morning, and before you know it, the leaves will be changing. But how about getting your yard and your garden ready for the new fall season? With some ideas this morning, we are joined by our good friend, Peter Mezett from Weston Nurseries of Hopkinton. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
What do you got there? Those are some big, beautiful hydrangeas.
These are for you.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. They're as big as me.
These are limelight hydrangeas.
Oh.
First, I want to talk about why fall is the greatest time to plant. It's the second spring.
Mm-hmm.
In New England, we get the advantage of having all these wonderful leaf colors once the temperatures start getting colder, and hydrangeas are just one plant. I want to show you a bunch more.
They are beautiful, and you brought just an array of choices and options and heights I see. Some of these are big.
Right. This is that same hydrangea. It's called limelight. And what's great about it is most hydrangeas start out white, and then they just go to another color. But this one turns actually green. And then, as you see in your hand, it turns pink.
Pink, it's beautiful. And how long will these bloom for?
They'll bloom, that's the other thing. They start in early August and they go through late October, so like 3 months of blooming time.
That is wonderful. And what do we have here?
This is another one called Quickfire, where the flowers stay right on. Not as many, but they also hold on for about 2 or 3 months. They start in August and end in October. That's a shrub form. You can see it comes up from the ground. And there's also the tree form. I don't know why everyone doesn't have one of these in their yard. They're one of the most beautiful plants.
I don't know either. I think you've inspired me, Peter. Something like this certainly more common. A lot of people have these different types of grasses, huh?
Yeah, the grasses come in all different heights, and that's really what you want to look at, is kind of clustering them in 1s and 3s and different heights. They've come on real strong in the last 20 years. This one's called Hamlin. The plumes stay nice and white like that. Only gets about 2 feet.
And what's nice about these things so far is they're pretty low maintenance, right? You don't have to do a lot to these.
They are. You do want to plant them earlier on. You don't want to wait until November because the roots need time to establish. That's one thing about grasses.
So get these out pretty early on. Looking forward, these are some of the blooming flowers that I think that people will recognize as well.
This is a fall blooming clematis called autumn clematis, and it's so fragrant you can smell it.
It's nice.
It really goes crazy. You can cut it right back to about 18 inches every year, and it'll come up 10 feet once the roots are established.
Wow.
And it climbs fences. It likes to get nice and wide, so you want to put it on something to climb on. It's a great fall plant.
And do these matter, like sunshade, partial sunshine shade?
Yeah, most of these are sun plants, but some of them can take some shade.
Okay, because it's such a huge difference this time of year where you have the sun and where you don't in terms of temperature.
That's true. And then the asters, you know, everyone can buy the annuals, but why not buy the perennial? So it's called the Woods Pink, and it'll come up every year for you rather than just 1 year.
And that's just going to give you such a nice pop of color. And I think this time of year, too, that is what is so nice about the fall season. We're seeing the oranges, the reds, and the yellows, but you don't see a lot of purple, so that's nice.
Yeah, the asters provide the purple.
Yeah.
And speaking of the reds and the off-reds, these are the sedums. This one's called Autumn Joy. It's very popular, and it just forms a nice, even rounded head. And it can be planted in poor soils. That's the best thing about this. Once the roots are established, you can live in really poor soils.
Oh, good. I've got plenty of that at my yard. So
yeah.
That's good to know. Of course, we've got the mums, and these, people say the hardy mums start to come back. They'll come back sometimes the next year, but they get all leggy and tall, and they never look as nice the second time around.
Hardy mums is kind of a misnomer. Hardy means it can take some frost and still bloom.
Okay.
Hardy in New England doesn't mean it can survive through the winter.
Yeah.
You really need the perennial mums, which there are some. And they can actually look as good as this too. So again, why buy the annual? You can buy the perennial.
And this is a perennial mum. So every year it'll be low to the ground like this?
This one's actually an annual.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the perennials look just like it. This has actually 3 different colors in one pot. Kind of a new thing that's going on.
Yeah, it's a little rainbow mum there. And so this is the time of year too, the ground is still soft. We should be starting to get these in?
Right. Bulbs, they're called spring flowering bulbs, but you buy them in the fall. Daffodils are your most reliable. You can plant them on the edge of woods because they bloom when the light is still coming down, so even though they need sun, they'll still bloom on the edge of woods, and the animals don't get them. The tulips, not quite as reliable. You have to count on planting them every year. The animals, the little critters, can get these sometimes.
Yeah, and is it good to wait a little bit? Because if we still have, an Indian summer that gets underway, will these start to generate a little bit too soon? So maybe wait?
A little bit, but now's the time to start. Once the nights get down into the 50s like they are now, you can start to plant bulbs all the way through to the frost.
Peter, thank you for the ideas and the beautiful hydrangeas this morning. Great to see you as always.
Good to see you.
All right.